You know, every single company you can think of, whether it's the little cafe on your corner or a massive global brand, started in the exact same way. It begins with one person looking at the world and seeing a problem or a gap or a need and thinking, you know what, I can fix that. Today, we're going to follow that journey, all the way from that first little spark of an idea to the massive challenge of scaling up.
And this is where our story kicks off. This is Mohammed Kamar Hussein. When he was just 17, he looked around his city, Karachi, and noticed something. The local roadside restaurants, they're called dhabas, were, well, not always the cleanest, and they definitely weren't very welcoming places for women. Now, most people just saw an inconvenience, right? But Mohammed, he saw an opportunity. He decided to build a totally modern version, a dhaba with all the traditional food, but in a place that was clean, safe, and just a nice place to be. That right there, that's the spark.
And what Mohammed did makes him the perfect example of an entrepreneur. See, being an entrepreneur isn't just about having a cool idea. The real definition is in the action. It's about starting the thing up and, this is the big one, taking on the risk. Mohammed had to go get a loan, figure out how to run a business, and pour all his energy into something that, honestly, could have totally failed. That's the heart of it. You carry the risk, hoping for the reward.
So how does an entrepreneur like Mohammed actually make money? They do it by adding value. Think about it. He wasn't inventing some brand new product. He was selling tea and food, things you could get anywhere. But by providing that cleaner environment, better service, and a much more welcoming vibe, he made the whole experience way more desirable. He added value to basic ingredients, and that's what let him charge more than what he paid for them.
Okay, now I want you to think about the last time you bought something. That decision, just like every single choice an entrepreneur has to make, has this powerful kind of hidden force at play called opportunity cost. It's a really simple idea, but it's huge. Anytime you choose to do one thing, you are automatically giving up the chance to have or do something else. And that something else, the thing you didn't choose, that's your opportunity cost.
It works just like this. Let's say you've got enough cash for a new smartphone or a new pair of trainers, but you can't have both. If you go for the phone, the trainers you had to pass up, that's your opportunity cost. It was the next best thing you gave up. And for businesses, this is critical. They aren't just competing with each other. They're competing with all the other things their customers could be spending that money on.
All right, so you've got your brilliant idea, and you get the whole idea of costs. The next step is a big one. It's your first major practical decision. How are you going to legally structure this thing? You can think of it like choosing the right kind of vehicle for the long road trip you're about to take.
This is the question that takes an idea from just being a hobby and turns it into a real, actual business. Are you going to do it all by yourself? Are you bringing in partners? Or are you creating a whole separate company? The answer you pick here is going to have massive consequences for your future.
So let's break down the main options. If you're a sole trader, it's all you. 100% control, which is great. But, and this is a huge but, you also have unlimited liability. That means if the business goes under and owes money, they can come after your personal assets like your house or your car. A partnership spreads out that risk, but you also have to share control. And then you've got the private limited company. With this one, the business becomes its own separate legal thing, which leads to the most important concept on this chart, limited liability.
And this idea is an absolute game changer. Limited liability basically creates a firewall between your personal finances and the business's finances. If the company fails, you only lose the money you actually invested in it. Your home, your car, your personal savings, they're safe. It's this legal safety net that gives so many people the courage to take that big entrepreneurial leap in the first place.
Okay, so we've picked our vehicle for the journey. Now what? Well, you need a destination, right? You need a map to tell you where you're going. In the world of business, that map is your set of objectives. Without clear goals, a business is pretty much just driving around in the dark.
So, pop quiz. What do you think is the #1 most important goal for any new startup? I bet most people would immediately say profit, but as you can probably guess from this slide, they'd be wrong.
It's survival. That's it. Given the incredibly high number of new businesses that fail, the single most critical, urgent objective is just to make it through that first year or the first 2 years. It's about getting customers, managing your cash, and just staying in the game long enough to find your footing. Profit, that can wait.
Now, once a business has actually survived that initial phase, its goals can get a lot more ambitious. You might aim for profit maximization, which is just squeezing every last cent of profit you can out of the business. Or maybe the goal is just growth, getting bigger and expanding.
Some companies get laser-focused on market share, trying to grab a bigger piece of the pie from their competitors. Others might prioritize social responsibility. And then there's this interesting one, profit satisficing, which basically means making just enough profit to be comfortable, choosing a better lifestyle over working yourself to the bone for maximum wealth.
But here's the thing. A vague goal like increased sales is pretty much useless. For objectives to actually work, they need to be SMART. It's a fantastic framework that forces you to be clear. So instead of increased sales, a SMART goal sounds like this. Increase sales of product X by 15% before the end of the third quarter. See the difference? It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-limited. Now that's a real target you can actually aim for.
So let's say your business made it. It survived, it's hitting its SMART goals. Now you're going to find yourself at a massive crossroads, a point that every successful founder eventually reaches. Do we grow? And if we do, how?
And this is a really tough trade-off. If you stay small, you keep total control. You're quick on your feet, you know your customers by name, but you might always be scrambling for money. On the other hand, if you go big, you get more power, it's easier to raise money, but you risk becoming a slow, impersonal machine and losing the culture that made you special. There is absolutely no right answer here. It's a deep-down choice about what kind of company you truly want to build.
And if you do decide that growth is the path for you, there are really two main ways to do it. You can grow organically. Think of Hewlett-Packard starting in that famous garage. You just reinvest your own profits to open new stores or create new products. The other way is to grow through integration. That's when you merge with or just buy another company to expand really, really fast.
All right, as a business grows from a one-person passion project into something much bigger, something really fundamental changes. The journey stops being just about the founder. Suddenly, there's this whole network of people who all have a very real interest in whether the business succeeds or fails.
And we call these people stakeholders. This isn't just the owners, it's everybody. Your employees, your customers, your suppliers, the banks that lend you money, even the local community where your office is located. They all have a stake in the actions your business takes.
But here's where it gets really tricky. All these stakeholders want different things, and often those things are in direct conflict. Customers, for example, want the lowest possible prices, but your employees, they want the highest possible wages. The owners want to maximize profit, and the local community wants you to provide jobs, but they really don't want any noise or pollution from your factory.
And that's the hard reality of running a scaled-up business. It becomes a constant balancing act. A decision to cut costs to make the owners happier might mean using cheaper materials, which makes customers unhappy. It's a never-ending negotiation, trying to keep all these different groups at least somewhat satisfied.
Which brings us right to our final thought. We've gone all the way from a simple spark of an idea to a complex organization that's juggling dozens of competing responsibilities. And it leaves us with a really important question to think about. In this world where a business affects so many people, what's the real measure of success? Is it truly just about the profit on the bottom line? Or is it maybe something more?